The feints, the foot movement, the way he lands shots. He fights like a boxer. He doesn't fight like a guy who's trying to box in a celebrity boxing match.
Sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200.
If I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Joe Rogan has once again shaken up the combat sports scene with a daring prediction about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. The UFC commentator didn't hold back, saying that Jake Paul's size and weight advantage could potentially end Tank's career if they face off in the ring. Rogan pointed out that although Gervonta is one of boxing's most powerful punchers, he is simply too small to deal with Jake's strength, reach, and overall physical presence.
Opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm an idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love
That
everybody.
had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromise in the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Rogan admitted that Jake Paul has genuinely grown as a fighter. He mentioned that if Paul didn't come from a YouTube background, his progress would be impressive because he understands how to fight, has solid ring awareness, and doesn't just swing wildly. However, Rogan also gave a serious warning, saying that the fight with Gervonta Davis is extremely risky. He highlighted that Davis is on a whole different level when it comes to skill and knockout power, and if Paul underestimates him, it could have serious consequences.
Poor fellow.
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that they underestimate him because of what his background was. And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, he's a very good boxer.
Jake Paul was blunt, saying, "I would destroy him in the ring given the size." Even though he acknowledged Gervonta Davis's skill and dedication, his statement quickly sparked backlash. Critics argue that it makes the fight seem more like bravado than a serious contest. With Paul close to 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis a lightweight, the huge size difference adds to concerns that this fight isn't just uneven, it borders on reckless showmanship.
I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
I don't know if Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
For Tank, there's no way that this goes well for Tank Davis. Because if he wins, they go, oh yeah, world champion. Of course you were supposed to beat that YouTuber. If he struggles but wins, they go, ooh, Tank is washed. He struggled against Jake Paul. He still won, but he had a hard time. And then, of course, if he loses to Jake Paul, and him and boxing lose their...
Rogan's comments came as several announcements were made. The fight is now scheduled for November 14, 2025, at the Kaseya Center in Miami and will be an exhibition 10-round bout streamed on Netflix. The catch weight is said to be 195 pounds, a significant jump from Davis's usual lightweight of around 135 pounds and also higher than Paul's recent cruiserweight fights.
It still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random.
Beyond Rogan, boxing experts and analysts have shared their views on the matchup, highlighting worry, caution, and in some cases, outright doubt about the fight's legitimacy and safety.
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles. Chilaquiles.
Musty energy. Musty energy. Musty energy. Musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Get your hand out of my pocket! Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-something pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad.
The hatred. Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad. Tank basically on the back half of his career, according to my brother Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. This man, Gervonta Tank Davis, said, I am not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. The man said, I'm not even going to rematch Lamont Sanat. The man just said, I'm not even thinking about fighting Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream, Debo Haney. I am going directly into Jake Paul. I've been told you that Tank was the black Jake Paul. Tank been the black Jake Paul. Man ain't care about legacy. Man ain't care about none of that, bro. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. Protect your fighter. It is musty at the highest level. And poor Lamont Sanat, it might be over for Lamont Sanat. He got to fight somebody. You might need to fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. Tank Davis, Lord Child, Jake Paul, boxing down bad. This about to make a lot of money. The only plus in this is that Alicia Baumgardner, aka Bomb Amy, might be on this card. I would love to see Alicia Baumgardner back on Netflix. That is a plus, and my man Lucas Body might get on there as well, and Avius Griffin. So it might be a movie as far as the undercard. Tank Davis, you down bad, bro. Boxing is absolutely disgusting and musty at the highest level. Get it together. Tank is a 30-plus-year-old prospect at the back end of his career. He on his Mayweather McGregor at the age of 30. Lord child.
Davis's head trainer, Calvin Ford, acknowledged that the fight is risky due to the size difference and other factors, but said, "We signed the contract. We're going to make it do what it do." He emphasized glove size rather than weight. The teams are discussing whether to use lighter or heavier gloves. Ford noted that Davis usually fights with 8-ounce gloves and suggested that Paul use 10-ounce gloves while Davis keeps 8-ounce to even things out.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mismatch. It's supposed to be expedition. What's the matter? What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s.
Ford explained that initially the team was preparing for a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr., but when the opportunity to face Jake Paul came up, they felt fortunate to take it. He said the Roach rematch made sense strictly from a sporting perspective, but the Paul fight promised much greater exposure and financial reward. Ford defended the choice by stressing that Gervonta Davis has earned these opportunities, and sometimes a fighter has to step through a bigger door, even if it's not the clearest competitive path. The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis faced significant regulatory challenges. The Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission refused to sanction the bout in Atlanta due to the huge weight difference. Its chairman, Rick Thompson, was very blunt, calling it the dumbest event he'd ever heard of and dismissing it as a money grab. When Paul's promoters requested a weight class waiver, the commission refused, citing safety concerns over such a mismatch. As a result, the fight was moved to Miami.
Whether or not to approve Tank Davis and Jake Paul. His name is Rick Thompson. He has some very choice words for Jake and Tank fighting. He says it's the dumbest ish he's ever heard. It's a money grabber, and he's not okay with that. And he doesn't like the arrogance of Tank Davis and Jake Paul announcing their fight, marketing their fight, having press conferences and shit before the commission can vote whether or not they're going to approve the fight. He calls it arrogance. Their concerns, obviously, the weight discrepancy between the two. In the state of Georgia, two competitors cannot outweigh each other by more than 9 pounds. Tank and Jake Paul's team have already submitted a rule waiver request to get that rule waived. And Rick Thompson also said in this article that he is expecting the committee to put it to a vote as to whether or not they're going to approve this fight on September the 18th when they're meeting again. Also, we got some insight that USA Today tried to reach out to other members of the committee, and all of them declined to comment on what's going on. But what I do know is that the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, it's a 5-person panel.
Meanwhile, former world champion Amir Khan also shared his opinion, calling the fight disgusting and warning that exhibition bouts with such big mismatches could cause real injuries or harm the sport's reputation. He stressed that weight classes and proper sanctioning exist for a reason. Khan went further, suggesting that by taking this fight instead of facing a top-level boxer, Davis risks making the sport look like a joke. He said Davis might be chasing money and spectacle rather than true ring prestige. While acknowledging Davis's elite talent, Khan pointed out that entering the ring with such a large weight and size gap raises serious safety and integrity concerns. His overall message is clear: this is not a fight a serious champion should take.
Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fighting in an exhibition bout. You know, they can frown, but one fighter has been more vocal than the rest, and that's Amir Khan. The thing with Amir Khan, you know he's always been about his Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill, y'all. Now he's mad because Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul figured out a way to rob the bank, like Mayweather and Conor McGregor did. Amir Khan out here talking about, you know, someone's gonna get hurt. This needs to stop. That's why people respect MMA so much. You don't see these fools trying to go over to MMA and do what they do in boxing. There needs to be some kind of control. He pulled a Eubank Senior on us. Parliamentary procedure. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, if Amir Khan had an opportunity to fight Jake Paul, all it is, hey guys, let's do the right thing and stop this social media nonsense. All fighters should stick to fighting, whether boxing or MMA. We shouldn't be crossing over, doing this misfit shit, fighting YouTubers or fight
match. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man, I mean that's wrong, man. I mean that's just like torturing someone. You know? I mean going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard that he's been having a lot of legal problems and been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really. Yeah. One day someone's going to end up getting hurt so badly.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson spoke candidly about the planned fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, calling it a terrible idea due to the huge size difference. He argued that Davis should be looking for a real boxing challenge instead of an exhibition that, in his view, hurts the sport's integrity. Stevenson stressed that Davis could earn much more by avoiding the spectacle and going after a true elite opponent, suggesting a genuine unification bout would make far more sense. Essentially, Stevenson positioned himself as the logical boxing matchup for Davis and portrayed the Paul fight as a money-driven move rather than a meaningful contest.
Tank and Jake fighting.
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. he called cap on it. So if you're gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
There's a huge size advantage, though.
it is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also
KSI has openly criticized Jake Paul over his fight with Gervonta Davis, calling the matchup a disgrace to boxing. He expressed frustration with Paul's choice of opponents, implying that Paul is avoiding a fight with him and choosing easier challenges instead. KSI's remarks show his ongoing disappointment with Paul's approach and his desire for a legitimate showdown between the two.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse. And now he wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it.
Teofimo Lopez sees the Paul versus Davis fight less as a contest for titles or pride and more as a spectacle focused on profit and attention rather than legacy or rankings. He notes there's no shame in that, as both fighters are set to earn huge paydays and gain mainstream exposure. While it may not have the prestige of a championship bout, Lopez believes the fight still has value by attracting new audiences and creating buzz. Even as an exhibition, it can benefit boxing by bringing in fans, expanding the sport's reach, and showing how big boxing can be when personalities, drama, and showmanship come into play.
For Gervonta and Jake, I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around.
Despite constantly highlighting the huge size difference between Paul and Davis, Joe Rogan has made it clear that Tank's talent should not be underestimated. On his podcast, Rogan praised Davis as one of the most explosive punchers in boxing, with elite timing, precision, and ring intelligence that few can match. He warned Jake Paul and his team not to assume that size alone will secure a win, stressing that Davis has knockout power capable of turning a fight around instantly, even against a larger opponent. Rogan concluded that while Jake's physical advantages are real, Tank's technical skill and experience make him far too dangerous to take lightly in any situation.
Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. A giant fan of the guy. I just loved, as a person who like really enjoyed technique, I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. I always admired guys who were able to find like the shortest path connecting with a shot, where it's just like the technique is so dialed in. You know, there's guys that...
All right, everyone, stay updated with the latest boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Boxing Glory and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Don't forget to check out our other videos. Until next time, take care and peace.